Rise and Shine with Robbo and Becci on Vision.
Well, it's that time of the week where we catch up with some of our favourite people. A huge part of our Vision family here are Brett and Kate Ryan from Focus on the Family Australia. Good morning.
Good morning, Becky.
So good to have you guys with us
Robbo
again.
and DJ.
That's right, yes.
Still here.
A cast of thousands in the studio. But look, great to have you guys here. And DJ, because you got 3 teenage boys.
Yeah.
I've got 2. One of mine's just come out of the teens, but he's just outside of teens. So we're really keen to hear what you guys have to talk today about when the teens start to rebel.
Yeah, and it's just for you, for doing some homework for you, Becky, as well, just to prepare.
Well, mine's 12, so we're nearly tweens.
Yeah.
Nearly teens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, for us at Focus, we're always talking about being in the prevention game. Building that healthy relationship in the early formative years helps that you can tackle these issues when there is that conflict, where there is tension, and building a healthy relationship with your children as early as possible and ongoing, not just you don't stop, you're building, constantly discovering new things of what makes them tick. And then when there is a situation where there is that tension, where they are rebelling, you've actually earned the right to speak into their lives.
And I guess it's the challenge again, isn't it, to be doing that proactively? Like you need to develop that, for the 12 years before they become teens. Obviously, you can't just do that, in one go.
No, kids don't appreciate that. They actually want you. They don't want you to rock up when something's wrong. They want you to be there through the good and the not so great. And look, let's face it, the rough and tumble when they're younger is part of the bonding time for that later relationship. We have 3 sons as well, and so all ours are married now, and 2 of them have got their own kiddies. And so, we built a really close-knit relationship with them in those early years. And so the teen years, we're going to say, were pretty smooth, just because nothing was off the table. We were able to talk about anything and everything. And I'm going to confess this. There were a couple of things where I reacted. And one was around pornography. When my boys were exposed to pornography, my initial response was I burst into tears.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't because that I was cross with my son because he was exposed to it by someone else. It was because somebody had stolen their innocence. And so when I explained that to my son and said, I want to be able to talk about anything, I won't react like that again.
And you apologized.
And I apologized. I said, this is why I cried. And he was able to totally understand that. Because we don't want there to be shame around issues that they're facing. We want them to understand that everything they face is natural. It's going to happen. They live in a fallen world, and they live in a world and will be exposed to all manner of things. It's not their fault that they're exposed to it. And even if they make some unwise choices, we still love them and we want to work through things with them in a healthy way.
So for those who are listening now, like myself, who've got 3 teenage boys, and we had, the great relationship, you do all that building when they're younger, but now they're going into their teens and there's cracks appearing of rebellion that you're speaking of. And you're thinking, man, and the tendency as parents is just to grab hold and just try to drag them back. And that causes them, especially boys or even some girls, to rebel even more. How do you get around that?
Yeah, it's a good point, and it's a great question, DJ. The fact is, your children are going through a process called individuation. They're actually trying to spread their wings. They're finding out where are the boundaries, and I've got this. I know these things. I'm my own universe, and that's what they've been programmed by the popular culture and in the society today. You can do whatever you like, and it doesn't matter what other people say. You do it. If it feels good, you do it. And it is a tendency for parents to become control freaks. And I think that's not necessarily the thing you do. You can't protect them. You can't put them in a bubble. And sometimes they have to face the consequences of their poor choices. And so that is a real challenge, because we know the pain. We know what they're going to experience. But unfortunately, some people need to go through the lessons of the hard knocks till they realize, hey, this wasn't good for me. And even though you would like to control everything, you just can't. You got to let go at times. But that does not mean that gives them an excuse to treat you with disrespect. It doesn't mean they give them an excuse to treat you rudely, and it means they can still and have to, if they're under the same roof, to contribute to how the household functions.
Everyone's got a different family dynamic. It is my middle child, my beloved, darling middle child, who sometimes it's like looking in a mirror and I see it all coming back at me. But this kid is willful. This kid is, on the positive side, he walks to the beat of his own drum. Peer group pressure, he's never heard of it. He is ready to do his own thing. On the bad side of that, when he turns 16, he doesn't have a driver's license. He doesn't even have a learner's, but he rocks up on a motorcycle that he's just bought with savings. What do you do? What do you do for that type of situation where he's under my roof and I'm like, where they're really testing the boundaries?
Oh, I think one of the first things I'm going to say is we never get off our kids' team. That is our number one, regardless of what they throw at us. And boy, they can throw stuff at us. For our kids, it was in their 20s.
That's another conversation.
And so it is another conversation. But one of the things that, Brett was saying, letting go of some control as they get, because we can't control their choices. But what we can do is let them know what is and is not acceptable under our roof. And as they get older, then it becomes a decision for them whether they're staying under your roof or not, because you've got your rules and you need to stand by what your core values are. And if it is affecting other family members, or it's making, or I'm not talking about your son now, I'm just talking about, or if there's violence in the home, then it needs to be for safety reasons, or it just needs to be the fact that your child thinks that they know everything, and to get out into the world and realise. And look, sometimes it may take an outside group of people who come alongside your child for a period of time. You don't just cast them out of your home. That's not what I'm saying. Because we love them. And look, one of our sons, in his 20s, he turned to me one day and he said, "Just let me go."
Wow.
And I just said, "You're spoken for. God's got a purpose and a plan for you. I will never let you go. I will be praying for you till the ends of the earth. And you can hate me if you want, but I love you more than you will ever know." And God loves you more than that.
Yeah.
And so it was extraordinary because we think our kids don't want us there. When they say things like that, they're pushing us away because they're trying to find out who they are or whatever. If they say, "Get away from me," or whatever they say, some awful thing to you, if you have got this innate gentleness, sometimes we've just got to be like rocks, just because our kids can say some awful things. But what they really need is for us to be there. We know that they really want us there underneath. And it's anybody you talk to who's walked a journey. I mean, our son, 2.5 years, came back. He was still in our home, but he came back to us, internally. And he said, "Thank you. Thank you for never letting me go." And yes, it was jolly hard work. Yeah. We spent a lot of time on our knees. We spent a lot of time crying. But, we have to learn to relinquish our children to God sometimes because, let's face it, they're his. So we actually relinquish them from the start. But as they get older, we kind of think they're ours and, and we get caught up in that and they're not ours. And so sometimes we just have to relinquish because there is nothing we can do.
You can put some boundaries, you can put some consequences, but at the end of the day, they're going to choose. Like, example, your son who's bought the motorbike and you've said, "Look, you haven't got a license. Are you prepared to face the consequences if you get pulled over by the police, that you will lose your license or your future potential losing your license? It'll cost you money." But you can also commend him. "I really admire you for saving up for this expense. I'm very proud. But here are some guidelines."
Yes.
No, that's awesome.
Here are some guidelines.
Yeah.
Because I love you. I care for you. I want the best for you. At the end of the day, I can't control you, but you are becoming an adult, and that means you have to make some decisions for yourself.
Now, look, I know you guys will have some great resources on your website to deal with this whole, the teen years, some articles and what have you. So people can go to families.org.au to find that.
And we've got lots of great resources from our website. In fact, there's an article called Holding Tight When Your Teen Rebels. But we would like to be able to help as many people go through the highs and lows of family life. And if they would like to find out more information, they go to families.org.au. And if you need someone to talk to, you can contact our pastoral care counsellor. Just leave your phone number or some details of what's going on, and we'll be able to contact you in due course.
And I just want to finish off by saying, don't ever do this in isolation. Raising kids needs to be done in a community. We need people backing us and people who've gone before us, years ahead, who've walked the journey already. Get them to help you walk through it, or any professional that might be able to help you with that journey as well. Parents tend to sit in a place of guilt or shame. You know, I'm the worst parent. What did I do wrong? And the minute our child goes and does anything that might be remotely rebellious, we blame ourselves. Yeah. But our children have free will as well. So be really mindful that our kids' wins are not ours. Our kids' mistakes are not ours.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.